So the next generation Nintendo Switch hardware situation continues to get more and more interesting the further we find ourselves into the Nintendo Switch's life cycle. Now, I want to preface this entire video by saying if you are somebody at this point in time that just wants to wait for Nintendo to officially announce and reveal something around new hardware without looking at any of the smoke that's going on in the background from manufacturing plants and estimated financial reports, briefings, which is some of what we'll be going over today, you are welcome to click off the video. These videos aren't for everybody, but some like myself like to look around and realize how many of the moving pieces could be suggesting that new hardware is coming within a reasonable time frame. And I am personally somebody who is expecting new Nintendo hardware at some point in 2024. This report that we're going to be looking at today suggests that Nintendo has plans to launch it in Q1 of 2024. You may remember a previous leak a while back that would also suggest this same information when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC was revealed. There was a 4chan post that anybody else would have written off and not paid attention to, but it turns out that this post actually outlined everything that we learned about in the DLC presentation at that Pokemon Presents, leading us to believe that this was a legitimate post. But while all the Pokemon details were proven accurate, one thing that we have to wait and see is whether or not the leaker that claimed that there will be a performance patch or some kind of performance improvement for the game, and that supposedly is being developed for new Nintendo Switch hardware, which will allow Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to be updated and run better, and it's claimed that that performance patch will launch alongside of DLC 2. Now, according to Nintendo, DLC 2 currently sits at a launch date of winter 2023, which doesn't necessarily mean it's in 2023. It could mean the early part of 2024, but I also find that timing somewhat suspect, as I think the earliest we could potentially expect new hardware would be something like the end of March or early April timeframe if they do something like a repeat of the Nintendo Switch where they launch in that springtime window. Now, the reason this is all back in the news today has to do with the following post that has been making the rounds online over on our Gaming Leaks and Rumors that we're going to read through right after this. Today, I want to introduce to you all a true game changer for your home office setup. We all know that sitting for long hours isn't exactly great for our health. Well, that's where FlexiSpot Standing Desk comes into play. The FlexiSpot Standing Desk is all about personalization. You can customize it with your preferred color and size of both the desktop and the desk frame. No more compromising on the aesthetics. It's not just all about the looks though. With its dual motor design, this desk doesn't shake no matter what height you set it to. Whether you're tall or short, you can trust FlexiSpot Standing Desk to provide stability and support. The desk that I selected has a beautiful bamboo top. It's not only environmentally friendly, but also super durable. Why not feel connected to nature while you conquer your work tasks or just enjoy your gaming sessions? Now, you may ask, why should you use a standing desk in the first place? Well, a standing desk has actually been shown to boost productivity, enhance focus, and even reduce back pain. Now, here's where FlexiSpot takes things to the next level. Their app or control panel allows you to effortlessly adjust the desk height with a simple touch. You can easily switch between sitting and standing positions, finding that perfect sweet spot for your productivity and comfort. Whether you work from home or spend long hours seated at your desk, the FlexiSpot Standing Desk is the ultimate choice for comfort, customization, and a healthier lifestyle. Please help support the brands that support me. Make sure you use my unique link in the description and pinned comment, and check out FlexiSpot Standing Desks for yourself. Huge thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. You can see the following post that outlines Chinese investment website expects Hongzhen, if that's how you say it, metal cases manufacturers to increase sales in second half of the year due to a new Switch console launching in Q1 2024. Now, this is a translation from this website, so keep that in mind for context purposes, but you can see the following post. In addition, although the overall momentum of game consoles this year is mediocre, in the second half of the year, with the advent of the traditional peak season, the purchase of game consoles is expected to increase compared with the first half of the year, and Nintendo plans to launch the Switch in Q1 next year. Based on this estimate, Hongzhen's game console assembly business can expand. It is hoped that we can start to see the momentum of pulling goods in December this year. It's also noted that this same website was one of the very first to talk about the NX production back in March of 2016, where you can see a post from that timeline saying the following: in the view of the fact that the iPhone inventory has yet to be depleted, the legal person believes that the consolidated revenue of Hongzhen in Q1 will decline significantly compared with Q4 last year. Consolidated revenue is expected to stabilize, and in the second half of the year, with the launch of the iPhone 7 and Nintendo NX, the operating trend will turn hot. Now, there's a couple things to unpack with this post, and the first thing has to do with the timing of what Q1 2024 really means, because again, this is a translated article and you have to be very mindful of context with things. But typically, when you are talking about a financial report or financial investment briefing, you are talking about a fiscal year, which would actually begin in April of 2024. It is not clear, however, in this post if they are referencing Q1 as in the true beginning of the year, which would be January through March, or if they are suggesting the beginning of Q1 in April 2024, which is when the fiscal financial year would begin. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say that this is referencing that April start time as far as the soonest that we could see this Nintendo Switch. I do, however, want to point out with that second post, you might read into that a couple different ways, because they are claiming back in March of 2016 that later on in the year, Nintendo would be pumping out the NX, which we already knew they were working on at that point in time. So it's not like they leaked the name NX, that already came from Nintendo, but we had yet to see from Nintendo when they would actually reveal the console, what it is, and when they would launch it. Now, you might remember that they revealed it in October 2016 and it didn't launch until March of 2017. And you might think, well, they kind of got that wrong then, because they're saying it will be out later this year. But again, you have to have that mindset of financial fiscal years, which is what I believe these websites are reporting it based on. And you would actually see the production not only start earlier in the year to start to produce all of those Nintendo Switch consoles, but you would also see the Switch launch in the fiscal year of 2016. Granted, right at the tail end of it, it did still technically launch in that year from a financial standpoint. So by no means does this confirm the exact time frame of the Nintendo Switch 2's launch. It is interesting to see. This is yet another piece of smoke that we can add to this ongoing new Nintendo Switch or new hardware fire, in addition to all of the other rumors, leaks, and reports floating around online that now there is a major Chinese metal manufacturing company that is known for manufacturing the cases of multiple phones and game consoles, reporting that they are expecting a big business shift to go up in Q1 2024. Again, think April 2024, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that's when the console launches, but I do think that it adds a lot of fuel to the fire of it being a 2024 console period. Because again, if you look back to the old NX post, they might be signaling that that's when their production will start to ramp up, is Q1 2024, and that's where they're getting paid from Nintendo to produce all of those things. But Nintendo might not launch the console until holiday season 2024, and I personally think that either springtime or holiday season 2024 is when we will most likely see what is next from Nintendo with new, more powerful hardware, and that is a very exciting prospect for me. Although, again, while Nintendo may have their plans set in stone right now, things are fluid until they actually happen, and that's where you have to take a giant grain of salt with this entire situation and all of the updates that we will continue to see around the potential for new Nintendo hardware. The supply chain when it comes to chipsets and sourcing parts are a real thing. It is getting much better now, but there's no telling on if there's some kind of new hiccup that might pop up that will make Nintendo adjust and reevaluate, not to mention things like the Nintendo Switch just having its best sales year ever in Japan in the month of June definitely leads some more credence to Nintendo's strategy of potentially keeping this console around way longer than any of us would have expected it to be able to continue its momentum. They're talking about struggling to hit 15 million units sold this fiscal year for their goal, but if they do see that continued uptick following things like the new Super Mario Bros. Movie and most importantly Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, they might decide to run with the Switch for longer than we realize. But I'm personally still on Team 2024 at the end of the day, and think that either in that springtime or fall/holiday season, it might be the perfect time for new hardware, and that might be when we see it happen. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and opinions around this entire new Nintendo Switch 2 or new Nintendo Switch report. Do you think it leads any credence to the idea that Q1 2024 could indeed be the launch window? Do you think that it's more likely to happen in the holiday season of 2024? And what do you personally want to see out of a Switch 2? Do you want it to be another Switch? Do you want Nintendo to ditch that form factor? I don't think that'll happen, but how do you feel about it? Back Backwards compatibility is a must for me, but do you think Nintendo will actually do things like that? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.